Why is networking so important? The more genuine connections you make, the more potential for personal and business growth. This means more opportunities to build your business by leading with a giving mindset. Effective networking can be a win-win when you do it the right way, but it's not always easy. I'm here to help you get the most out of your networking effort so you too can always be connecting. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with Raghu, my show where I get to turn my coffee meetups that I normally have out in the field and at Starbucks and other places like that, and I turn them into a real podcast. And it's about the people in the community, the business owners and the entrepreneurs, and I like to have them tell their stories where everyone can see what they're about and the person behind the company. And so today I have Jason Stallard, one of my good friends, the owner of a local media agency, and he is here. We've known each other for a couple years now, and we've collaborated a lot, and so wanted to take a deeper dive with Jason on his story, the man behind the brand, and he always talks about branding. He's been in a lot of different industries, and I wanted to find out more about him and show that to all our viewers. So welcome to the show, Jason.
Yeah, it's nice to be here, man. I've seen Real Talk with Raghu in action now a handful of times. Even been behind the computer once doing and running the cameras. So it's nice to be in this seat and be able to chat with you, man. I love what you do. And we've actually known each other for 3 years now. In June, end of June, it's going to be 3 years because we met in COVID, right when I joined the Schaumburg Business Association. I mean, you were we pretty much kind of hit it off right away. So it's gonna be crazy. It's 3 years that we've known each other.
That's amazing. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, man. We should get like a bottle of wine or something.
We should.
Like, maybe whiskey.
Oh. Yeah. So, and obviously you produce my show. So Real Talk with Raghu. If there's no local media agency, there is no Real Talk with Raghu. So I really appreciate everything you guys do, obviously. And I know what you're about when it comes to all the production part. But there's a lot of things that I wanted to talk about and find out about you that I don't already know. And so that's why I wanted to bring you on. And so you're a veteran at this type of thing. You have your own show, and you've been on guests many times, I'm sure, of many different shows. But, how did, the first thing I always ask people is, obviously, I know you're in the Palatine area. That's where you live. But tell me about where you grew up and, what made you who you are today, just a person.
Yeah, so I grew up a Midwesterner. Grew up born in Munster Community Hospital in Munster, Indiana. Lived around the northwest, suburbs of Chicago, of Indiana, northwest area. Really with like Highland, Griffith, and Hessville. Pretty much I was 14 years old. My dad worked in steel mills. My mom was like somebody who worked in like a doctor's office type thing. And during that time frame, if you worked in the steel mill, you got laid off a lot. In the 80s and early 90s, there was a lot of transition that went in that. So my dad got an opportunity to go to Las Vegas when I was 14 years old. And it was super hard at that time. I was in the middle of my 8th grade year. And at that time, you don't want to leave all your friends and do all that stuff. But it was probably one of the biggest blessings in my life. I have some of my best friends. There's 7 of us that are still tight to this day that I met out there going to high school and growing up in college years. And then really fortunate for them. And then in 2005, I met my wife out in Las Vegas, and she was from Palatine, Illinois, and obviously we hit it off. We're still married today. We both worked for the Cheesecake Factory, and she got promoted to a role that would take her into a corporate role here in the Chicagoland area. And I came back like 3 or 4 months later and got into the restaurant business as well. Helped pay for the move, I like to say. But I wanted to come back home. Las Vegas was great to me, and it was a really huge thing that shaped my life, the experiences and the people that I met out there. But Midwest is home. My family, I still have a lot of family in Northwest Indiana, and now now. My wife and I have been back here since 2006. We've been back here. It was July of 2006, and we have kids, and we live in Palatine, and life is good. But it's been a little bit of journey, a little bit of Midwestern soul with a little bit of West Coast style, I guess you could say, if you had to describe me. But they both make me up.
Yeah, I'm glad you came back here, and we met through the Schaumburg Business Association, and you said June of 2020. Right at the beginning of COVID.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I met you, you had an off 53 shirt on, Love Local shirt on. And my first question was like, what is that? I know what 53, Route 53.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing that came to mind was, what is this thing about? And the first thing that I remember was you were doing a lot of those videos. And you really believed in giving back to the community and giving the restaurants and non-for-profits exposure. And those videos I just thought they were so awesome. And I was like, man, this guy, he's a realtor, and you were in real estate, but you also were giving back so much to the community back then. And at a time where these restaurants and nonprofits probably needed it the most. So tell me how that even started.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's been that long. As we sit here today, that was like 3 years. 3 years ago when that really started that leg of Off 53 and what turned into be Love Local today. It started with two guys in a bar in 2017. Mike and Mike Mollardino, which is on the show Brand Worthy with me, and still does and runs the real estate side of our business called Love Local Partners now. We were like, man, we met in corporate America. We knew each other there. And we both got a real estate license. We haven't caught up in a while, and both of us were talking about doing community videos, and kind of happened super randomly. But we decided to partner up, and we're like, all right, cool. Let's start doing community videos. We had no clue what the heck that meant, and we learned really quick that video is hard and editing is hard, but editing is what makes video easier. We learned really quickly, but we started out in 2017 just doing this and be like, hey, we're here at the taco shop, we're here at Chicago Culinary Kitchen or wherever we were, just talking about the business. And the whole plan was, the goal was to be community first realtors. We wanted to showcase our communities. Real estate and helping people buy and sell homes is great, but people don't buy the home for the home. They buy it for the location. They buy it for the neighborhood. So we wanted to showcase our community and what it was all about. Then COVID hit, and before even COVID, we knew we were going to go into this new series. We pretty much were going to model off of diners, drive-ins, and dives. We were just going to keep it local with Off 53 Eats. I remember we thought we were really cool with the name. And COVID hit. And I thought real estate was going to die. I thought, the world was going to come to an end. I think in the beginning part, I was coming out of a lot of personal growth at that time, and I was coming out of some struggling times. And first month and a half, I was really in a dark place, and I got a call from Campbell Boston, which was my OG videographer that I worked with, followed by Adam, which is behind the cameras now, controlling them. And he was like, man, I got to get out of my house. My parents are driving me nuts. He's a college student. So he's like, I'm going nuts. I'm back home to school. Like, my mom and dad said I could come do videos for you. Dude, I don't even charge right now. I just need to get out of the house, as long as you are cool with me using them as my portfolio. And I'm like, let's go. So really the first video we did was Palatine Inn. And I think from that moment on, I found love for the story. At that time, businesses were scared. There was a lot of struggle happening with them. Are they going to keep their doors open? Are they going to get the support? And through all that, I think we made over 75 videos in this last few years for local businesses in that way, and over hundreds if you're just doing basic stuff with lives and all that. But we fell in love with the story, and what we saw was that small businesses needed support with video. Video is not going anywhere. From doing research, we knew video was going to be the way of the future. I think one of the stats we saw was by end of 2023, which now we're coming up on, 84% of the IP addresses on the internet are going to be video. And we're like, well, shit, like video is going to be huge. So what we found during the pandemic is that we want to help businesses, we want to help nonprofits get their voice out there. We like toys, we like tinkering, we like putting the story together, but doing it when we could help them get their message across really fueled us to create what we've created today with Local Media Agency.
Yeah, I remember even for me, I was scared to do video, with my insurance agency back then. You were the first one that actually did a video for me, and you did it out of the kindness of your heart, so I really appreciate that. But
it was actually a check, dude. You didn't even put it in the mail?
No,
oh, okay.
I forgot. You didn't get the Zelle?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Must have gone to a different number.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Should. I don't know.
So you were the first person that got me even interested in believing and doing the videos. And so you're also actually maybe a minute ago, you're the first person to swear on my show.
Oh,
so,
is it? Sorry.
Yeah, you dropped the
S
word.
Yeah. I apologize.
Yeah, but that's okay.
I didn't know this was PG-13. I apologize.
I'm like Will Smith. I was Will Smith in the 90s. Now you just moved me up to Will Smith, like Bad Boys 2.
Oh, okay.
And then
I don't want to be Chris Rock if you're Will Smith.
No, I was going to go there. If you don't want me Will Smith, like now.
Yeah, I don't want that. Yeah. So we can edit that part out if you're going to.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So, but I didn't realize what what it would do to just my exposure and just my confidence in doing more videos. And so I really appreciate that. I still have the video that you did at my office, and
cool.
I look at it every now and then to just kind of reflect on what things to take from it, and I really appreciate that. So just wanted to say that.
Yeah, man, no, for sure. Video is as hard as we allow ourselves to be as humans. We usually tend to overthink it. Editing does a lot. So always, in my opinion, and how I try to lead our clients is like, just be yourself.
Yeah.
Be yourself. Remember to smile. You're probably nervous the first couple times. It gets better. You're where you start with video and where you end is two different parts of the spectrum. You start at chapter 1 and you struggle and you overthink a lot of stuff, and then you realize that, like, hey, if I'm just in a room full of people and I got to talk, it's really the same thing.
Yeah.
I just need to, make sure to look at the camera or not look at the camera, and just, making sure that you're just make yourself feel comfortable when you're doing it. You don't have to. People overthink it, in my opinion. Just be you.
Yeah, I mean, so I know that one of the things I was surprised about with you when I first met you, I would have never thought this, but you told me later on that you're an introvert. And so I would have never thought that. And so just by judging on how comfortable you are with doing these videos and speaking in front of people, like on the spot, and so I would have never thought that. But somebody like me, I'm an extrovert, and I think you know that. So
yes.
When it comes to networking events, I love it. They gave me energy, and when it comes to those types of videos, like I turn into an introvert. Like I don't wanna. I'm always second guessing on what I want to say. What would you tell people that are uncomfortable about doing videos, about second guessing themselves or having the writer's block in their head? What would you tell them advice wise on just to make them more powerful on it and get past that roadblock?
Yeah, I think there's a couple different buckets of people within video. One, don't have any want or need to do it. And if you don't have a want or need to do it, whatever. That's cool. You don't have to do it. Do something and create in another way to get your message out there. But if you want to do it and you're like, hey, we're all nervous with it. There's nobody that's not nervous about video in the very beginning. It's just a part of it. Just lean into it. Like, just start. Pick up your phone. And, there's a challenge that I remember my mentor, Jesse Peters, who's a realtor in Canada, that kind of got me started with all this stuff. He was like, just make 30 videos in 30 days. You don't have to post any of them, but just make them. And what you're going to see is you're going to realize that, like, okay, I'm not the way I think I am on this, because usually you're thinking one way, and your self-talk isn't usually good, and you're like, oh, I didn't say that right. I should have said this way, or should have did this way. None of that matters. Just get started and get going. Through that process, you learn and grow. And it's just like anything else you do in life. Like, where you start and where you finish, if you put in that work, you're going to succeed. But just put in the work, and I promise you, you'll get better and you'll grow in it. And nobody cares if you're not perfect. In fact, I think it's recommended nowadays that us as humans show that our imperfections.
Absolutely. I've seen so many times where people, even on videos, they, in their minds, are messing up. They don't say the right things, but people that are not the subject matter experts in what they're actually talking about and what they're the audience, and they don't know what Jason Stallard's talking about because they're not the expert. But they pick up so much, and sometimes we internalize, hey, what we didn't say or what we forgot to say, instead of just focusing on the value of the 5 things that we did talk about.
Yeah.
And how far that goes.
Yeah.
And the other thing that you just mentioned, it's kind of funny when I talk about networking and when I work with introverts, a lot of the advice you just gave about giving somebody like me and other people who are scared to do videos the confidence of doing the videos is the same advice, some of the same advice that I give to people to go out networking, right? Yeah. Just, it takes practice. Do it. You might get more comfortable doing it. Grow your comfort zone.
Put in the reps, right?
Put in the reps. Yeah. So, you're just, you have it on, you talk about muscle memory. There's video memory, just the fact that you guys do it and you know what works and what doesn't work. I'm sure you learned a lot. What are the 2 biggest lessons that you've learned from where Off 53 is to where your company, Love Local Media Agency, is now? What do you think is the biggest, maybe 1 or 2 reasons that got you to that transformation of where you are now?
Yeah. One, I think there was, we enjoyed the technical sides of it. I think that for me, it was like this nice blend. I got to help people, but I also got to like play with toys. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I think it was because of the stories, because of the people we met in the community, we found, and because of the how our world's changing in a really crazy way, in a really abundant way, in my opinion, it to us it opened up doors of like follow your heart. If you believe in something, we believe in stories, we believe in our community. Lean into that. It might not be easy. It's going to take longer than you anticipated. The ROI when you follow your heart isn't always at the forefront, but do it. And everybody has something in their heart and what they want to build or grow, but fear stops many of us. For me, I chose a certain part of my life to live in fear-based, and with this, that held me back, in my opinion. With building this, I'm scared every day and I'm fearful, but I also have a faith and a hope that what we're doing and in being able to bring the stories of the people in our community to life and to help people thrive in business and within, helping nonprofits amplify their voice so they could do the real work in our community that needs help. That gets me up every day, and that drives me to want to continue to make better. But that comes from the heart of wanting to build something. It's hard. We have failed a lot along this journey, but I'm about to cuss again. I won't, but just lean into it. We've been able to lean into it, I should say, and just embrace that suck, because we know that the mission that we're on is something bigger than ourselves.
Embrace that. I'm sorry. Yeah. You say embrace that suck.
Yeah.
It's there was that
it's a Cub
shirt.
Saying, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Cub saying. Joe Madden.
Yes.
Try not to suck.
Yes.
But embrace. You should make it shirt.
I think I stole that from him too. I think, or maybe embrace the suck. I'm pretty sure it's the Marines say that as well. Okay. Embrace the suck. I'm pretty sure that's where it's from, or maybe Navy SEALs. I'm confusing them, and then people that are watching this that are Navy SEAls or Marines are going to be like, "Dude, get your stuff together." But it's from a military. It's from a military thing. I remember hearing it, but to me, it's embrace it. If you believe in it, build it.
Totally. Yeah. No. Yeah. Truly build it. I'm looking at your shirt, and you got Betty D's on it. we're in Betty D's studio,
Yeah.
and obviously you named the studio Betty D's studio. Tell us, what's the story behind Betty D's studio?
Yeah, definitely. So Betty D was my grandma. She passed away in August of 21, and that was really a time frame when we were like going into like, what is this thing? This is more than real estate. We're gonna have to separate these two off. And in October of that year, I'm grieving. The world's a hot mess in general. You watch the news, and we're divided as a whole. My family's divided through grief, and I'm driving down 53, and I'm during this time frame. I'm like knee deep, and when I go into like have an idea, I'm like tunnel vision on something, and I'm thinking about the podcast studio and like what's behind it, and what who is it going to serve, and all these things, and at that and thinking about the name piece of it too, like what are we going to name it? Is it going to be Love Local Studio? Is it going to be this? And then all of a sudden I saw a billboard with Betty Boop, which my grandma's friends would call her Betty Boop back in the day. I was like a little kid, and her friends would be like, Betty Boop, Betty Boop, and they'd get over and do their girl stuff, play bingo or whatever it was. And so I took that as a sign, and I was home that night, and I didn't tell Carrie that piece of it at all. And at that time, I'm like, oh, Betty Boop Studio, kind of thinking. And through that creative process, I learned, like, well, that's not going to work. Trademark issues, copywriting, blah, blah, blah. So just continue to work through it, not telling Carrie anything. I'm just sitting there thinking. She picks up her phone. She goes, look, Betty Boop. And I never said anything about Betty Boop. I never told her that story. And she knew that meant something to my grandma. And at that time, I'm like, well, like, I'm gonna cuss again. Holy shit! Like Betty, Betty, we're just gonna call it Betty D's studio. Like Betty Boop isn't gonna work, and it kind of just all came together. And I look back on that time and why why that came into place, and what I was working through at that time. How we're talking right now, if our world could talk like that, if both sides of the table could talk like this from the left and from the right, or from families that are divided, if they could truly talk to each other, empathize with each other, show vulnerability, and allow one another grace, because especially with grief, it's really, really a tough emotion.
Yeah.
That if we could talk through it, we could get through anything. And when I look at what we want to do with Love Local Media, it's very community first approach of what we want to be able to do. So I want to build a studio with the help of some pretty amazing people, Adam being behind the camera with the brains behind it. But I want to build a studio that wants to bring people to the table to be able to help make our communities a better place. And we all bring a special gift there. And I want us to do that and be able to talk through things, because we got work to do, whether we're family or whether we're people in the community. We could make our community stronger if we really focus in on like working through it, because I bet you our ideas aren't that different. If we really talked about them, our ideas aren't that off.
Yeah. You are 100% about the community. Every time that I talk to you, you always have so many different ideas about how you can incorporate the community into what you're doing. And I love that about you. And I've learned so much about you and so much from you about how I can change my mindset on doing more for the community and not really changing my path. It's almost along the route of what I'm already doing, but collaborate and bring the community in on a lot of stuff. I know you do a lot of stuff with Palatine. You guys are a part of the Palatine Fest and the parade and all that. When's the first time you started getting involved with the Palatine community?
It's all through COVID. I didn't do any networking or anything until I walked into the SBA, and that's when I met you. And I think you've been a catalyst of that, of like, I struggled in chamber settings or in other networking settings, I think, before. And the reason for that is, you would call them takers. I met a lot of people that just wanted something. And to me, that wasn't a genuine thing. People are there for a reason. And I think what I learned, throughout this whole time frame, are relationships are key, and that through relationships, community can be built. The core foundation. So I've learned like kind of what I've learned from you, man. Like just how to build relationships and not rush those and want what's best for people. I don't know if I answered your question, but that's what I felt when you said that.
No, it was good. So, as far as events that you have coming up, do you have anything that showcases, Love Local Media Agency or anything of that nature coming up in the next month or two?
Yeah, so we are really honored to be a part of Morning Motivators here at Bellworks to do a keynote, which is something I wanted to do for a really long time, and to be able to tell a story, to be able to get a message out there from things that I'm passionate about. And I think with what's going on in today's world and all the artificial intelligence and blockchain, all these things coming up, I really wanted to talk about like humanizing your brand through content and bringing authenticity to the table with that, and just leaning into it. Kind of what we started with, one of the questions you asked is just start and get your message out there. But yeah, that's coming up on June 20th, and really looking forward to that event. And really, to me, I call it like I want to do more of these, and I want to continue to evolve with that, but this is like the first big one, so super excited to get it off the ground, even though the nerves of an introvert are like, holy crap. I'm looking forward to leaning in and hopefully delivering a good message that people could find value in.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that one, and every time I hear you speak, I learn more about building your brand and sharing your story and the simple tweaks that you can get the most out of. And so when you talk about audience, who do you think would benefit most from that type of talk in your eyes? Which also goes into who are your target clients?
Yeah, I think for that talk, and I think it would tie into our target audience for our clients as well, but people that want to tell their story, that want to get their message out there. I think if that is a want for you, no matter if you're in the beginning part of that journey or if you're further down the road, like come to it, because I think you might get something out of it. I think my goal is to tell a story about kind of a little bit of the backstory of some things that I went through with content creation and the evolution, but really tell a story where we're at within our time in history, and how cool of an opportunity that we have as business owners, as nonprofit leaders, as creators to get our message out there, and how I feel that it's really needed, especially as artificial intelligence comes into play even more. Humanizing your content and connecting with people and building a community around that of like-minded people will never be more important. So I want to dive into that. People we want to work with, to me, it's business entrepreneurs, business owners, and nonprofit leaders that want to be thought leaders in their industry. People that have something to say, that are continuously learning and growing in their field, that want to be experts at their craft, that need a content machine to be able to help them put it all together in a digital environment. Here at Love Local Media, we're Love Local Media Agency. We can help across the board, but with content creation. But we do that because we're building a machine. We need a lot of content. Content takes time. We are that engine, that machine that simplifies it for you so that you could focus in on what you do best and build your business that way in the operations, and we'll help you build out that brand, which will eventually turn into revenue for your business more than you've ever imagined, because you could touch a lot of people when you build your brand right on these social platforms.
Nice. So as far as Love Local Media Agency, obviously you help people with podcasts. You've helped me with my podcast. You do custom videos. What are some other typical things that companies come to you for to help them enhance their business with?
Yeah, really 4 buckets, 4 divisions of the company, I guess you could say. So obviously we're here in the studio today. So here in Betty D's studio, we could also go out to people. We have a traveling studio that we've launched as well, in a beginning version of it, but we could go to you as well with to be able to create podcasting. To me, podcasting is huge because you have this, it goes back to we don't only have so much time in our day as the world gets quicker. But with podcasting, you could take one long form piece of content and you could trim that up and cut it up and make a whole bunch of different type of social media clips, and then all of a sudden you're building out your library in a very little amount of time by having an authentic conversation, which is truly what I think people want as you continue to grow. And then another part of the division of Love Local is just our video and media division, where we help businesses bring their messages to life in long form video, things you would see on YouTube, you see on Facebook and other places too, websites, etc., telling your business's story. We do a lot of events too. Our creators and videographers are like, they got a style for events that they just need to keep leaning into that. And then short form videos in general. So we do a lot of batch creating. It goes back to time and solving people's problems in the business world. They don't have a lot of time, so we have solutions that will allow us to come out there and create a lot of videos. We just did a client last week, 28 videos in 2 hours that we made for him. Now he has his content library built up in a month off of 2 hours. That's all he has to do, and we handle the rest for him. And then next piece is the content distribution. So we want to be able to be the ideation all the way through the distribution. So you could come work with us. We have all the systems to help you build your brand authentically with content from front all the way to back, and we're creative within it. At the end of the day, the media is just the engine for it. We are creatives that are using video to be able to do things because it's popular in today's world. And the last piece of our business is the heart of it, which is Love Local Chicagoland, which most likely will be a nonprofit as we continue to evolve. That's a part of 24's initiatives, so we have a little while to be able to get there, but we want to continue to love. What got us here is loving on our community. We don't plan to stop that. And we plan to use podcasting and video and pictures to be able to do that, but to bring our communities to life here in the Love Local, or here in the Chicagoland area with the Love Local brand. So we do a lot, but at the end of the day, the problems we solve is we're your content creators and your idea generators so that you can run your business and not spend tons and tons of time, but you could build your brand on social media, which is only just beginning.
Wow. Yeah, it's a lot of different arms, but what I love about it is that you guys take the pressure off of people so they can actually work in and on their business, and you can actually help them be more creative and help them get more exposure. And those short clips, those mini clips, for when I see people's on there, your clients, people that I know as well, and I see them, and it gives me a better perspective as somebody who's watching it, to find out what they're about and their value proposition. And so those are huge. There's so much value in that.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people miss out on that because they don't even think about utilizing somebody else or a different company. They try to do some of that stuff internal, and it's never going to be consistent. It's never going to be the same type of quality.
Yeah, I see people bringing it in-house, and the question I ask for those people: what type of engagement are you getting off your content? Who's liking it, and how often are you doing it, and what does that cost cost-wise? I think for us, we're disruptors in the market. People need content at scale. Video is usually really, really, really expensive. It's going to need to mellow out a little bit as we go into this new creative age that we're in with these social platforms, because video is needed across the board. So what do you have to do? You have to decrease labor, and you have to build systems that are efficient. That's what we've done, so that we could give it to people at the cheapest that we possibly can while we still eat, because we know how bad they need it and how they don't have tons of time to be able to do it on their own. And even if they do, it's all changing so fast. Don't you want an expert at the headway, giving you guidance that's knee deep in it every day, or do you want somebody that just knows how to post and get stuff out in your business? That's a decision that you'll have to make depending on what you want to do with your brand on social.
Yeah, I know. Just change the subject, but one of the books that you told me to read a couple years ago. It was called Give and Take by Adam Grant.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned takers, so that reminded me of just give and take. And usually give and take with power partners. We talked about who your target clients are and audience and who could benefit most from Love Local Media Agency. And when you talk about collaboration, people usually collaborate with power partners.
Mm-hmm.
So people that you can get referrals from and give referrals, give
Yeah.
and take. So to give people an idea who is a good industry or who are good people out there for you and Love Local Media Agency to be connected to collaborate with.
Yeah, I think our best power partners are other media companies. Not every media company does the same things. Branding specialist companies. We say we're into branding. We're into branding through content. We're not going to make your logo. We're not going to do your website and those other things. Website builders, SEO experts. SEO is huge. I think for us, SEO and video and content creation goes hand in hand, and they could help fuel each other to give the result that a business wants. And I think overall, we want to build relationships, and we want to by building relationships, the trueness of those relationships come to the forefront, and that's really what we want. Through that, we're fortunate enough to meet other connectors and other people that are influential in the community. But at the end of the day, it's relationships for us. The rest will take care of itself.
I love hearing you talk about relationships and those power partners and how where you guys, where other people leave off, you pick up. And I would have never thought about SEO unless you mentioned it, because I just don't sometimes, when I'm in your world or I'm not in your world, I'm not thinking of the people that you actually collaborate with, because I'm not there. So, but that totally makes sense now that you mention it, right? Are there people that you've worked with that you can give an example of, just industry-wise, that where you actually, it's a mutual relationship?
Yeah, we both know him, Brandon Ayers of Legacy and Life Law. He gave us an opportunity to put what we feel should be on social out into the world for brands, and it's a lot of video, it's a lot of authenticity, it's a lot of bringing up what your brand stands for at the forefront, and he's given us that opportunity to be able to do that. Through that, found a love for him and his firm, just because of the way they do business. They want to take care of people. They want to do what's right, and they're genuine themselves. So that is, for us as content creators, it makes our jobs a lot easier when somebody's just real and knows their craft.
Yeah. So, call to action wise, are there any, what is the best way for people to get a hold of you and or Love Local Media Agency if they want to know about any of your services and products?
Yeah, so visit our website. It is evolving and changing here in the near future, but website at lovelocalmediaagency.com. You could also shoot me an email at jason@lovelocalmediaagency.com, and we could get the conversation started and do a content consultation.
Awesome, man. So thanks so much for coming on my show. I really appreciate it, man. I hope you had a great time.
Yeah, it definitely did, man. It's different being on this side of the table, but I appreciate the opportunity and just have a lot of love and respect for you, man. You've your mindset and your coaching is really helped us get to where we're at today. Me personally, I just want to say thank you. So appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. And thank you, everyone, for watching another episode of Real Talk with Raghu. As always, if you are looking to be the live version of LinkedIn and want to take advantage of my coaching, I do free consultations for Always Be Connecting. I do individual coaching, group coaching. I can train a group of people at any company. When it comes to relationships, please reach out to me at Raghu@alwaysbeconnecting.net. And until next time, always be connecting.